Owning a dog is one of life's greatest joys. Dogs are joyful, affectionate, and endlessly grateful to their humans. However, caring for a dog isn't always simple. Beyond the time, stress, and expense of feeding, walking, and providing medical care, the hardest part may be the brevity of our time with them. Our lifespans far exceed theirs, making every moment with a furry friend precious. One woman knew that her beloved old dog, nicknamed Steve Mason, was not going to be with her much longer. Yet his story ended in a way that nobody could have expected. The user said, "This is Steve Mason, the most incredible dog I have ever met and my best friend for the past 16 years. This is the story of how he died saving my life one last time." Steve Mason, as his friends called him, was a husky Labrador Rottweiler mix with insanely fluffy ears and markings on his face that made it look like he was always wearing Harry Potter spectacles. I picked him out of a litter of puppies because, while all the others yipped, squealed, and played, he was the only one to stop and snuffle the flowers. He always had this way of perking up his ears that could spur me to keep going, either to the top of a ridgeline or out of whatever ridiculous angst I found myself muddled in. It was clear this girl loved her dog and admired his perceptiveness. Little did she know that his sharp senses would come in handy and be fatal one day. She continued, "He was obsessed with shortening sticks and tearing up any cardboard he could find. He was extremely meticulous, and many a vacuum cleaner died trying to tidy up his messes." Mason was a best friend and rock-steady companion for my older brother and a traveling companion like no other. Every time he saw my brother, even if 5 years had gone by, he'd still try and jump into his arms like a puppy. Everyone who met him came away saying that he was a remarkable dog, and many could honestly say he was the nicest being they'd ever met. Mason may not have technically been a person, but it was already abundantly clear that others knew how special he was. Over the past 2 years, he began to show his age. His hearing and much of his eyesight abandoned him, along with his sense of balance. Every dog owner dreads the day that this happens to their best friends, but they must come to terms with the fact that their pet's health will begin to decline. Eventually, when the signs of aging begin to show, it's natural to wonder when and how your precious pooch is going to live out his last day. She said, "I kept expecting him to die in his sleep or collapse on a hike. My worst fear was that he would grow so old and infirm that we'd have to put him down. I honestly didn't think I'd be able to go through what I've had to do for so many other dogs with him. He was far too special. He just seemed so old." She continued, "But he just kept on going, refusing to take it easy. He moved slower and couldn't go as far. But he never seemed to mind. This winter, I've been sure to get as many adventures in with him as possible, knowing our days together might be numbered. On March 5th, he and I, along with my family's 3 younger dogs, took off for what was meant to be a quick hike around our property before I had to go to work. We were about a mile from home on our snowshoe trail when I noticed a figure following us about a quarter mile back. I recognized it as a wolf right away. I hadn't seen a wolf in my valley for about 15 years, but wolves are shy and usually hide from humans, especially one with 4 dogs. Trying to be respectful, I turned us towards home, thinking we'd give the wolf room to escape and think no more about it. A few minutes later, the littlest dog gave a bark, and I turned to see the wolf standing 15 feet behind us. She was huge, her shoulder nearly coming up to my hip. She looked scared but determined, and most of all, she looked hungry. We were in trouble. She attacked, and we spent the next 20 minutes trying to fight her off. I was hitting her with my ski poles while the dogs nipped and tried to avoid her teeth. She was weak but a good fighter. Mason and I ended up fighting side by side. The wolf kept staring me in the eyes, but it was clear she was after the dogs. She finally pinned the smallest dog, and Mason lunged at her. Suddenly, my frail old man looked huge, bigger than I'd ever seen him before. He knocked her off the puppy, but she got Mason by the throat. It was over in a split second. I've never screamed so loudly. Every fiber in my being was telling me to kill her, stab her in the eye, tear her throat out if I could, but that would have only gotten me killed too, and there were 3 other dogs I had to get out of there. It was too late anyway. He was dead, and she was eating him. This is the wolf. This picture was taken the morning after by some guards at the nearby border station where she wandered past. Though all I wanted to do in the moment was kill her, she really is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, and now that it's done, I hold no hate for her. She was starving to death and did what she had to survive. I think she went into the fight knowing she might be the one to get killed, and it was simply the luck of the draw that she got in first. I only hope she leaves this valley safely. I miss Mason deeply, like there's a gaping void in my chest. Even though I know I did everything I could, I can't shake the feeling that I failed him. While many dogs pass away peacefully at 16, slowly and painfully from old age, Mason's departure was sudden and dramatic. He saved my life and the lives of 3 younger dogs. He was my puppy, my steadfast companion, my brother, my friend, and he faced his end as he lived. My hero. I love you, buddy. Farewell, Mason. Though Mason's death was tragically violent, he will always be remembered as a true lifesaver. His owner's powerful and emotional story is a testament to the remarkable bond they shared.